Okay, so here I am at Syracuse University, and that's what I was doing when I learned that Pearl Harbor had been hit. When we got into World War II, because of Pearl Harbor, I was immediately put on loan from the infantry to the Air Corps, Army Air Corps, and sent to Romer Depot Control Area Command. These Roosevelt ordered industry, told them he wanted them to manufacture 1,000 airplanes a month. And they would be bare frames, and they would have to be equipped someplace with whatever armament, protective devices, radar, you name it, depending on where they were going to go and what their function would be. Were they going to be bombers? Were they going to be freight haulers? And this would make a whale of a difference as to what equipment they would be married up with at this Romer Depot Control Area Command. And that's where I was put. And that was a very important duty. And General Kane was given General Court-Martial authority. For this, he had to have a staff judge advocate to be his legal beagle. And he wanted to send me back to Syracuse University to find out how long it would take me to get a law degree. And he sent me with a lieutenant colonel officer down to the campus, and I got to thinking on this, and on my way back I decided I was going to tell the General Kane, no way was I going to sit out the war years on a college campus getting an advanced degree while we were drafting young lads off the streets, giving them a few weeks of basic training, and sending them into combat overseas. So I told this to the general. I had been a professional soldier for a little over 10 years before we entered World War II. Am I going to sit out on a college campus now? No way. So he said, well, what school would you like to go to then? And I said, Commander General Staff College. Now, I'm only a captain at that time, and high-ranking officers, lieutenant colonels and colonels who knew they'd never make general without graduating from Commander General Staff College, they were champing at the bits to get into that same thing. 7 in the morning till 7 at night, 7 days a week. No let-up. But even so, I bootlegged Sundays. I went AWOL on Sundays. My roommate, he and I used to take Sundays and go down to Kansas City and regale ourselves on steaks, see a movie, just goof off. And we were pretty sure that Sunday classes would not be counted in our final grades. And we were lucky. They were not. After graduating from Commander General Staff College, went on what amounted to a couple of months tour of various military bases, and ended up at the Commodore Hotel in New York. And when I signed in, the clerk turned it over and said, "Oh, you didn't need to sign in. Your wife is upstairs. She's here. She's already signed you in, and in room so and so." So somebody called up there and woke her up. I went up, and the first thing she gave me was my orders for promotion to major. That was a welcome. The next morning, she had bought the major leaves, having bought them at the post exchange, and while I am getting showered and shaved and dressed and everything the next morning, she's putting the insignia on my uniform, my shoulders. And so then I took her out to breakfast at a child's restaurant. I remember that. And we're sitting there eating, and two guys come to the table and asked for some ID from me. And I asked what this is all about, and reaching for my wallet, I bring it out. My ID is still, the only ID I have is as a captain. I haven't had a new ID card made yet in the Greater Major with my picture on it. So it turned out that someone at another table had looked at this lady and this guy in an officer's uniform sitting at a table eating their breakfast, and he had his insignia on wrong. There are two ways you could put them on, with the leaves looking out or the stem looking out. She'd done it wrong. And they figured, well, he's just somebody faking being an officer. It took some explaining, including bringing out the promotion orders. Right soon after I had my orientation, what's going on in Washington, how they're running the military from Washington all over the world, there I am heading out for the 13th Air Force. Oh boy, was it hot out there, out in the Pacific, Guadalcanal. They had Red Beach. They had Washing Machine Charlie, a Japanese plane that would fly over several times every night just to keep you awake, keep you from getting your good rest. And not only did he bother you, but so did the fungus that would grow all over our bodies, all over. We called it Dobie itch, and it would break out in a rash, and it would play hell with you. And you kept wanting to scratch, and you couldn't hack it. Well, at night, sometimes, when the day's chores were done, we'd, in my tent, my general staff tent, we'd play a little poker, sometimes a little bridge. And I remember one time I saw somebody looking over my shoulder, and he's looking intently at it, and I turned sideways, and here's a centipede, a huge centipede has crawled up my back and is about to come over my shoulder. I don't remember exactly how that happened, but I know it was a scary thing. Now that centipede was over a foot long. I managed to knock it down, and we had a broom. The broom was about worn out. some very hardy stubs of straws in the broom yet, and we smacked the hell out of that centipede and broke it in half, and it was well over a foot long to start with. It must have been 8 or 10 inches long each half, and they were traveling all over the place. That was kind of weird. One time at Hollandia, I landed there. It was after dark, and we couldn't have lights on. They would invite bombing. So I was told I would be escorted up to General Kenny's headquarters, up the mountainside. We get up there and it's dark, and the guy lets me off in front of a tent, and he says, "You can just spend the night in here, and we'll adjust things in the morning." And so, okay, I figure, well, I better go relieve myself before I hit the sack. And so I started back beside the tent. I remember tripping over the guy ropes that tied to the stakes out here. And after a bit, I say to myself, well, this is far enough. And I start letting go. And all of a sudden I realize I'm not hearing anything. Now, normally, if you're standing there urinating on the ground, you hear it. I wasn't hearing a thing. Oh, I backed away from there, and the next morning I went back there to see what it was like, and I realized all of a sudden that if I had taken one more step, I'd have been dashed to pieces on rocks way the hell and gone down there. Then my knees got weak. I know there have been times in my life when I had a guardian angel on my shoulder, and that was most certainly one of them.